All right, welcome back to the channel. Terence Crawford is a little out of whack in an interview that he gave to ESPN, claiming that number one, he should be the A side over Errol Spence Jr. in their fight, and number two, he would diminish himself if he were to fight the top level welterweights. At least that's the way that I took what he said, which is a little bit off, a lot off, absolutely sounds a little bit bananas. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel again. Thank you, subscribers, and also I want to take a little bit of time before we get into the video to thank specifically the subscribers that come by the live stream every day. Thank you so much for your support in the super chat and in the Cash App and the members of the channel. Also, thank you to everybody that supports the channel on Patreon, supports us over on Twitter, and also just thank you to everybody that supports the channel. Now, let's get into the subject matter of this video, which is something that Terence Crawford said. And something that Terence Crawford said that I think is just a little bit off, more than a little bit off. And he might just be talking just to kind of be talking. Let me go through it. So he has an interview with ESPN, and the gist of what he said there that is relevant to this discussion is that he has accomplished more than Errol Spence Jr. has in his career. And he also would be diminishing himself if he fought the top fighters that Errol Spence Jr. has already fought at welterweight. Okay. Point one is that he's accomplished more than Errol Spence Jr. is. Consequently, he's the A side, like he should be the A side. I'm not sure if he used that exact words, but that's the gist that I got from it. And then secondly, as far as the question of him fighting more top welterweights, because that's been a criticism, he says that if he fights those same guys that Errol Spence Jr. fought, he would be diminishing himself because people would say, oh, you just fought them after he was already beaten. I don't agree with either one of those. Let's start talking about it. First of all, Terence Crawford has accomplished more than Errol Spence Jr. Is that true or not? In one sense, I think that it's true. I think that because he has won belts at 135 pounds by winning a championship over Ricky Burns, and then he became undisputed at 140 pounds by unifying, by being undisputed, beating Julius Ndungo. Who else did he beat for those belts? Julius Ndungo, Victor Postal, Felix Diaz, and he might have gotten a belt off of somebody else over there for the WBO when he first got to 140, right? So those are his accomplishments. And then he became a 147-pound fighter, beat Jeff Horn to win a title in his third division. So if you want to talk about the number of divisions that he has won championships in, absolutely, he's accomplished more than Errol Spence Jr. However, that is not where the A side comes from. Okay, the A side comes from, or the person with the most leverage or bargaining power is the guy that brings the most money to the table. It's just what it is in boxing. It's the guy that brings the most money to the table. And in this particular circumstance, it's Errol Spence Jr. If past numbers or past performance is indicative of or a good way to gauge what the future performance will be, then you got to look at the numbers of people that watch the fights, and you got to also look at the amount of money in pay-per-view events that is earned in the fight. If you look at those two things, there's literally no comparison between the two. One is a top 4, top 5 draw in boxing, and the other guy is a champion. He's a multi-division champion, but is not somebody that is way up there as far as their drawing power. Gervonta Davis is a bigger draw than Terence Crawford is. And Gervonta Davis is not anywhere near where Errol Spence Jr. is at this point in time. So as far as the A side, and the numbers I give you for that just real quickly are the pay-per-view buys that these guys have had and the viewership numbers that they've had on television. Errol Spence Jr. has been on back-to-back pay-per-views with Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. Both of them did over 300,000 pay-per-view buys. So, and then he fought at Texas Stadium. He had over 50,000 people there to see the Mikey Garcia's fight at Texas Stadium. Those guys, by the way, have been back to Texas. Mikey Garcia went back to Texas and he didn't fight in Dallas Stadium. He fought at the practice facility and did not sell that out. So credit goes to Errol Spence Jr. for the tickets that were sold over there when he fought for Dallas at Dallas Stadium. So as far as the negotiations and all that go, that's just, I mean, it's just firmly on the side of the A side financial. That's firmly on the side of Errol Spence Jr. Firmly on the side of Errol Spence Jr. But it's also Errol Spence Jr. at welterweight has fought better competition than Terence Crawford, which brings me to the second point that Terence Crawford made, which is that if you were to fight top welterweights, now I'm using the word top welterweights. He's saying the guys that Errol Spence Jr. has fought, the Kell Brooks, the Sean Porters, Mikey Garcia is out there as well. But if you won't fight them because they've lost to Errol Spence Jr., and that would diminish you, that is pretty much meaning that Terence Crawford doesn't think he has to fight any of the top welterweights. Because all of the top welterweights not named Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford have already lost. Keith Thurman lost to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao lost to multiple people. Manny Pacquiao lost to about 6 different people. Keith Thurman lost to Manny Pacquiao. Sean Porter has lost to Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr. Danny Garcia's lost to Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. Ordenis Ugas lost to Sean Porter. There are no welterweights other than Errol Spence Jr. that don't have a loss. So, and those are the top welterweights. And so who exactly is it that Terence Crawford is going to fight that won't, and by his definition, that won't diminish him? Nobody. Maybe Alexander Boost Putin, right? Or passing off, you know, that's why you get passed off on you things like Jose Benavidez, right? Jose Benavidez was undefeated, right? But does anybody think fighting Jose Benavidez is equal to fighting Sean Porter? So that's the thing that's the problem that I see Terence Crawford in with that logic. That he's not gonna, because what he's asking is, because the dude is stubborn. Let's be straight to the cuff with it. Terence Crawford's a very stubborn guy, man. And he is not gonna, it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that is gonna do anything that somebody else asks him to do without first, you know, kind of, you know, giving him the, you know, raising his eyebrows and scrunching up his face, you know, and he'll wind up doing it if he absolutely has to. That's not having met him, that seems like the type, what's going on here. No, I'm the A side because I've accomplished more, and I'm not going to be fighting the guys he already fought because he already fought them, and I'm not going to get any credit for it. They're just going to say I beat somebody he already beat. Similar to, now the logic behind that is, you know, similar to what people would say about Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao would fight guys like Ricky Hatton and Oscar De La Hoya, you know, after Floyd Mayweather Jr. had beaten him. But here's the thing with that. Manny Pacquiao wound up getting the fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. So even though people said it worked, and he wound up, and people that wanted to support him used the fact that he knocked out, that, you know, maybe he beat somebody easier, or, you know, like, for example, it went the distance with Floyd and Billy and Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya got stopped against Manny Pacquiao, even though you know that both those guys fought kind of a faded Oscar De La Hoya. But, you know, anyway, the people that are going to support Manny Pacquiao will use that as a way to, you know, to pump up the fight. But if you don't fight anybody, then how do you expect to change problem number one? Right. So number two, let me get straight with the problems. Problem number two is that he says that he won't get credit for beating guys that Errol Spence Jr. is beaten. Well, if you don't do that, then how are you going to solve problem number one, which is that Errol Spence Jr. really is the A side because people believe that he has fought in bigger fights and better fights than Terence Crawford has, and they've paid more money. And the way I say that is people believe that with their pockets, right? They bought the pay-per-views, they showed up to the fight, and the fight sold out. That's not the case with Terence Crawford outside of Omaha, Nebraska. So, or the state of Nebraska. I'm not sure if the fights were actually in Omaha. I do believe they were in Omaha, but outside of Omaha, he's not selling out and packing stadiums like Errol Spence Jr. So my thing is, Terence, fight one of the guys. You got to fight somebody that's considered a top welterweight. You have to. And it doesn't matter because they've all lost at some point in time because it's a very competitive division with top-notch players in there, man. Go ahead and fight the guy. So therefore, at least you can knock out problem number two by fighting them. And then you can say, oh, they can make those comparisons about how you perform versus how he performed. Or you can fight a top welterweight that lost that hasn't fought Errol Spence Jr. like a Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia. But you got to do something, man, because I really want to see the fight. But Terence Crawford now is outside of him training and becoming a great fighter, is not living up to his part of the bargain about making this fight happen. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.